Are you terrified to learn how quickly the world can look away to save politics over people? What's something people don't know about Halabja? It was documented and still ignored. In March 1988, Saddam Hussein's forces unleashed mustard gas and nerve agents on the Kurdish town of Halabja. Survivors remember birds falling from the sky and people frozen mid-run, dying where they stood. Hospitals overflowed, faces burned, families wiped out. The footage exists. Yet global response was muted, tangled in regional politics and strategic interests. This massacre is a stark reminder. Evidence doesn't always force action. Remember Halabja, not just as a tragic statistic, but as a warning about how power and politics can silence urgent human suffering. Exposing the shadow games behind a royal murder, or is it all smoke and mirrors? Here's the messy middle. In 1975, King Faisal of Saudi Arabia was murdered by his nephew, a shocking event that rocked the region. But a lot of people ask, could the US or the CIA have had a hand in it? Let's unpack why that theory exists. A few years earlier, Faisal used oil as leverage. Prices spiked and Western economies, especially the US, felt it hard. He also pressured countries over their Israel policy, two huge red flags for American strategists during the Cold War. The US had a record of covertly influencing foreign leaders back then, so it's not surprising conspiracy theories popped up. Here's the crucial point. While motives make the theory plausible to some, patterns make it plausible to others. There's no conclusive public proof tying US agencies to the killing. Historians still debate motives and political context. So, intriguing, plausible to some, but not proven. History often lives in that gray zone. I will never forget the photo that showed boys in combat boots, like kids playing at war. It changed how I see sacrifice. Here's the truth. Between 1980 and 1988, during the Iran-Iraq War, Iranian commanders used human wave attacks that sent teenage boys, some as young as 12, into minefields. They were given cheap plastic keys, framed as keys to paradise, ordered to run ahead to clear paths for advancing tanks. Thousands died. Families were left without sons. At the time, Iranian officials didn't deny it. Some even defended the tactic as religiously justified. It's one of the starkest examples of how war can twist youth into weapons. Remember, history like this isn't just a headline. It's a warning.
This is why you need to listen. A war doesn't end when the flags come down. For many, it follows them home. And it changes everything. Imagine walking through oil fields on fire, smoke so thick it hides the sun. Soldiers recount choking on black rain, hauling the wounded, counting the dead. Then, home, back to family dinners, lawnmowers like nothing happened. Except it did. Nights filled with nightmares, sudden tremors, unexplained rashes, memory fog. What doctors later called Gulf War illness. PTSD stacked on top, flashbacks triggered by a car backfire, a scent, a song, years of medical tests, unanswered questions, a fight for recognition and care. This isn't drama, this is reality for thousands of vets. If you're a veteran, you're not alone. If you're not, listen, share, and support better care. War follows many home, so should responsibility. 20 years after the Second Battle of Fallujah, one of the bloodiest urban fights since Vietnam, a U.S. Marine went missing during a house-to-house assault in 2004. Hours later, after being reported killed in action, he stumbled into a forward position, wounded, dehydrated, alive. He'd been fighting alone, moving through alleyways, moving through rooftops, completely unaware paperwork had already listed him as dead. Imagine the shock, relief, confusion, anger, rippling through his squad when he returned. Fallujah was brutal, tens of thousands of troops, intense street fighting, heavy casualties. This story isn't a movie twist, it's real life in war. Chaos, mistakes, the stubborn will to survive. Honor the fallen, but also remember those who came back against all odds. Exposing the hidden war under Gaza's streets. Here's the brutal truth. Above ground is one battle, but for 2 decades a different war has run below. Militant groups carved miles of tunnels for smuggling, for surprise attacks, for hideouts. Soldiers who entered them describe total blackness, narrow shafts, the constant fear of booby traps. Ambushes happen in seconds. A corner, a flash, gunfire. Worse, some tunnels ran under homes, hospitals, schools, turning civilian ground into fighting ground. Clearing tunnels is slow, dangerous, and often impossible to fully secure. The result, a battlefield layered on top of everyday life, where the line between combatant and civilian is terrifyingly thin. That's the tunnel war beneath Gaza. Silence can be a lullaby, or a loaded gun. In Beirut, 1982, it became the latter. In the 1982 siege of Beirut, artillery didn't just roar, it stopped for hours. Civilians said that hush was worse than the shelling itself. Why? Because silence turned into a terrifying question. Evacuate? Be wiped out next? That uncertainty shredded courage. Psychologists later called it deliberate psychological warfare, a tactic to break morale without firing a single shot. No flash, no bang, just waiting, hearts pounding, decisions frozen. Commanders achieved the same result as bombardment: surrender, panic, mass flight, but with fewer bullets. Today it's a chilling reminder warfare isn't only about weapons, it's about controlling the mind. So next time you notice an eerie quiet and chaos, remember, silence can be the loudest threat of all.